from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Yes, good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I'm your host Alex Brown, and it is indeed a pleasure to share the morning with you this morning. It's Tuesday, July 28th. Seems as though it was just yesterday we were saying that there was a new month, and we're getting ready to say it again. Good Tuesday morning to you, whether you've joined us on YouTube, on Facebook, AMPLIA, Flow, Digital, whatever platform you've joined us on. We thank you for joining us this morning, and we certainly hope that you are going to enjoy this morning with us. We go straight into our news in 90 seconds. First up, Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard Senior Counsel advised investigators to charge a 33-year-old Canaan man with manslaughter following the death of 7-year-old Angelica Jolie. The charge stems from an April 8th incident at Pigeon Point Marine Park where a jet ski collided with the child in a designated bathing area. Officers rearrested the subject yesterday ahead of his scheduled High Court appearance today. The Service Commissions Department announced that the 2026 Fire Service Entrance Exam for Grade 1 firefighters will take place on Saturday, August 22nd. Applicants are urged to check their email accounts for official notification letters. Candidates must present their notification letter along with a valid form of picture identification at a district revenue office to complete payment before sitting the exam. Candidates who haven't received their electronic notification letters by July 31st must contact the Service Commissions Department by August 5th. And finally, just having a little bit of technical trouble here. Finally, all branches of Works Credit Union were forced to close yesterday as staff embarked on strike action. The Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union confirmed that the industrial action was taken after contract negotiations remained stalled for over a year. While the credit union management assured members that efforts are underway to resolve the dispute, branches across Trinidad and Tobago remain closed until further notice. That was your news in 90 seconds. Tune in again for a full newscast at 6:30 p.m. Some interesting developments here in the country. I think there's a little bit of a sigh of partial relief, at least, in the rearresting of the jet ski operator involved in the unfortunate incident that claimed the life of young Angelica Jolie. Not that this is going to in any way fully restore the pain or heal the hurt of the family, but we look forward to how that develops. There's the fire service exam taking place, so those of you who are interested, those of you who have made the application, be sure to keep close to your email and not miss any of the dates. Viewers, we head on over to a celebratory segment for those who have had birthdays that you've shared with us. Let's see how many of you there are that are celebrating today. First in this morning's lineup is Rona Jack. A very bright looking smile on your face. We hope that your day is as bright as that smile and that you enjoy it to the fullest. We hope it begins for you a year full of purpose and blessings from the hand of Almighty God. Happy birthday to you. Next on the list is Garth Graham. Happy birthday to you, Garth. A very cool and unassuming posture in this picture. We hope that your day is just as stress-free as you appear, and we hope that you enjoy all that the day has to offer. We trust that it begins a year full of blessings and favor from Almighty God. Happy birthday to you. Next on the list, Collis Hazel, not by any means a stranger to your viewers. We wish you a very happy birthday, Mr. Hazel, hoping that you have a good day and that the new year begins with the peace and blessings of Almighty God. Happy birthday. Finally, on this morning's list is Dexter Sandy. Happy birthday to you, Dexter. We hope that you have a great day, one in which you find peace, one in which you find some enjoyment, and certainly it begins a year for you full of favor from the Almighty. Happy birthday to you. We end the celebrations this morning with a bit of a sad note. We express condolences to the family and friends of now deceased Mr. Alan Richards, and indeed to all of Tobago. He served as former chief administrator. He was the first chief administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly. Prior to that, he served as clerk of the house. We extend condolences to his family, to his friends, and certainly to all who would have served with him, and to all of Tobago who would remember the contributions of his time in public service. Again, condolences to all. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we end our celebrations for this morning. We hope that all those of you who have a birthday today are going to have a really enjoyable day, and that those of you who didn't make it onto the lineup, you have a wonderful day as well. Remember, if you have a birthday, you can share it with us, and we'll be certain to make mention of it as we celebrate birthdays here on the Tobago Updates morning show. Moving quickly along to our rundown for this morning, we continue our series, our 6-month review with members of the Tobago House of Assembly this morning. We discuss with the area representative, let me slow down a little bit, area representative for Roxborough Argyle. He's also the Secretary for Education, Skills and Innovation, Mr. Orlando Kerr. We talk with him and we'll hear his own assessment of 6 months in office, see what his review looks like, and then we'll talk with former head of the Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce and get a perspective on the changes of the shipping arrangements. There's a new vessel that is going to join the cargo run between Trinidad and Tobago, so we'll talk with Miss Diane Haddad and we'll get her perspective on that. Stay with us, viewers, and I'm certain that you are going to enjoy our conversations this morning. We head to a short break. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Wait, we are going airport.
Come back this way. Catch you roundabout and go down.
Right here.
Leave on time to be on time.
Today we are here at the new A&R Robinson International Airport, and we are doing a simulation along with the Airport Authority and the TTPS to do some observation for the traffic plan that we have implemented for the opening of the new terminal building. So starting Wednesday, July 22nd, the Division of Public Infrastructure and Transportation along with the TTPS will be at this intersection, and we will be implementing a traffic plan. Just continue around the circle. What is important in this entire traffic arrangement is that if you are coming from Crown Point, you're coming from the west and you want to go further east than the airport terminal, we advise that you either use Milford Road, go onto Silcotton Trace, and use one of the side streets between Milford Road and Tobago Local Road. All traffic between Kilgwin Bay Road and Gaskin Road will be coming west only. So that is one of the important points that we have to get into our systems as we learn to navigate around the new arrangements at the new A&R Robinson International Terminal going forward. But we want to assure you that we will help you to get used to it. We will circulate information. We will be here at the intersections along with the police while you get used to the arrangement to assist you in circulating and to getting to where you need to go safely and quickly.
Every village has a story. Every tradition has a voice. This July 16th to August 1st, discover them all at the 2026 Tobago Heritage Festival. This year's theme, Let We Tell the Whole Story, invites you to experience the customs, resilience, and rich cultural legacy that continue to define Tobago. Join us for unforgettable performances, village celebrations, and authentic cultural experiences across the island. The Tobago Heritage Festival 2026. Let we tell the whole story. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for event details.
Tobago, are you ready to celebrate culture, color, and creativity? Then make Heritage Haven books and things your first stop this Heritage Festival. Step into a world of vibrant African wear, handcrafted accessories, unique gifts, local authors, and inspiring books for every age. Whether you're dressing for the festivities or searching for something special, Heritage Haven has something just for you. Heritage Haven books and things where culture comes alive. Visit us today at the Scarborough Esplanade. Discover treasures, celebrate culture where read it, live it.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pooled procurement of medicine or pooled procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers. As promised before the break, we're talking with Assembly Member Orlando Kerr, representative for Roxborough Argyle and Secretary in the Division of Education, Skills and Innovation. He joins us virtually. Good morning, Mr. Kerr, and welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for joining with us. I know schedules like yours are tough to keep, but we thank you for making the time to talk with us this morning. Mr. Kerr, 6 months in, let's start with your time as an area representative, because one of the general cries, and I'm not saying it is so necessarily for your area, but one of the general cries we hear from constituents is that when their representative becomes part of the executive, it is often difficult to interact. How has maintaining interaction in your electoral district been while you balance the responsibility of leading an entire division?
Well, it has been difficult because you have to basically do a balancing act. You have to try to find enough time to do your duties as a secretary and also find enough time to interact with the members of your district. I have my public day every Tuesday at my division, at my district office, and I see the public every Tuesday. What makes it a little bit easier for me is that I actually live in my district. So even during my normal operations, exercising, going to the barber shop, just being on the streets, I get to interact with the members of my district. So that makes it a little easier for me. So I don't have to make an effort to be here. I live here. And therefore, even on our weekends, after work, I am available. Persons will call, persons will show up even at my home. So that I think that for the most part, I am able to interact with my district. But as I said, it's not always easy to do because of the demands of so many things that you have to do. Remember, you have to make different public appearances. For example, recently we had so many graduation ceremonies, and the division of education is dynamic. Many things are happening, and therefore you have to try to balance that time, find that time where you can find time to do all that you need to do.
I must put this in. You've been finding time to play football?
Of course. And recently we just had our village league. We have not had a village league in Dalaford for a couple of decades. When I was younger, we had a village league, a very thriving village league. And so I revived that, and we just recently had that competition. And of course, I did take a part in that. I did play. And I still play with the Masters team and so on, because I think your health and your wellness is also important. When you ascend to office, you cannot get so bogged down that you don't find time to take care of you. And so I still try to find time to exercise, and of course playing football is a major love of mine, which so of course I do find time to play a little football every now and then.
And that's good to know. Let's switch a little bit to the responsibility of the Division of Education, Skills and Innovation. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if my memory serves correct, you spent basically all your life in education. You moved from being a student to being a teacher to being staff rep. Did I miss anything in terms of your professional life, or was your entire life, as I recall it, correct? Did I recall your life correctly as spending your entire life in education?
Yeah, you're totally correct. Actually, I started to teach in 1992 at the Charlotte Methodist Primary School, and then I moved to Roxburgh Secondary. And history tells that I became tutor Tobago officer in 2014. I returned to Roxburgh Secondary, and then of course in 2021 I became a member of the Tobago House of Assembly. So yes, I spent my entire life, as you said, in the field of education.
How has that worked for you as Assistant Secretary and Secretary for Education in terms of your ability to deliver on what you would have assessed to be necessary? You had everybody had it, but you had that particular progression where from being a student you saw things in one light. You moved from being a student to being a teacher, you saw it differently. Then being staff rep, you saw it differently. How did all of that influence the approach you took in terms of delivery as Secretary for Education?
Well, I think that is very, very instrumental in how I assess things, because I have been on the education landscape for such a long time. I've seen the transformation, the evolution of education in Tobago. I've been a teacher. I understand the issues firsthand, and therefore, very often I look at practical solutions, because sometimes we have solutions, but the solutions are not practical. And therefore, there are many things that I would have fixed since I became secretary. Simple things, but I often say to my administrator, we have to focus on the process. If we fix the process, then we don't have to focus on every single specific issue within that process. And we have been doing that for the most part. It's a lot, because the division of education is very complex, and there are many little operational issues and so on that creates a problem. And if we have to get the system working efficiently, then we have to fix the process. And if we fix the process, then we're going to have greater productivity and greater efficiency in the system. So yes, the fact that I've been a teacher and I've been in the education system and I understand a lot of the nuances it has helped me tremendously in terms of how to get the system to operate in a much better and a much more efficient manner.
I want at this juncture to invite you to share with the viewers some of the successes. You said that there have been some fixes, so share with us some of those things that have actually improved the quality of the operation of education on the island.
Well, many of the basic things when I came into office were in train that we had to ensure that we fix. For example, simple things. For example, we are in the process now of procuring photocopy machines. We had a situation where many of the schools were having issues with their copying machines. And over the years, we have always bought machines, right? And we have been having challenges from, as people say, time immemorial in terms of the maintenance of these machines. So now we're going to be using a different approach. We're going to try it to see how it works. We're going to evaluate it, and then we will decide whether or not we need to go back to buying. But now we are looking at the leasing the machines where the provider will do the maintenance and so on. So what is going to happen is that is going to reduce the downtime of many of these machines, because when you speak to the principals and the teachers, many of these machines are down sometimes for months waiting to be repaired and so on. So we are at present looking at changing the arrangement of how we get photocopy machines for schools or printers and all of those things. Additionally, many of our issues that it pertains to, like how we interact with MTS. I know that a couple months ago, we have heard about the cries of the Tobago contractors and MTS and all of that. We have had a meeting with MTS, and we are going to look at the arrangement with MTS going forward, because we have been paying MTS in Tobago, but however, the Tobago contractors are not being paid. And therefore, we are looking at the possibility of removing some of what the MTS is doing and subcontracting to Tobago contractors, and we are going to be going directly to the Tobago contractors, and therefore we will be able to at least pay them directly rather than wait until MTS pays them, right? We have some of the issues at our primary school with our daily paid cadre and all of that, and the issue of productivity. We have our staffing issues, and I am not very pleased right now with the Teaching Service Commission, to be quite honest. I think that the Teaching Service Commission has not done justice to Tobago, but of course, I'm a secretary who will call them out. We have been waiting for a very, very long time. I'm talking about almost 2 years for the interviews of principals. I'm hearing that it's on the horizon because I've been putting some pressure on the Teaching Service Commission. We have vacancies to be filled. When I came into office, we needed to have some teachers and so on. Some of the schools were short staffed, and the principals were actually the ones who have to do the administrative duties and also teach classes, and that of course is not fair to the principal. So we have been working as a division very hard to get those things done. And of course, I know that the misconception that when these things happen, it is the Division of Education. The Division of Education has no responsibility as it pertains to the appointment of teachers, and therefore we have to wait on the commission. And back in February, we had a meeting with the commission indicating the situation in Tobago. And I must say that I'm very disappointed that, 4 or 5 months later, we are still in the same situation, even though the division has done its part. And, I want to put it out in the public space so that the commission can do right by Tobago, because Tobago cannot be an afterthought. Tobago cannot be, the last to get anything. And we have been waiting. We have asked the principals to hold on for the longest of whiles. And now we are hoping that by September morning that we will get the persons who have applied for principals to be appointed, and to have the young teachers who have qualified themselves to also be appointed, so that we can start moving education forward. But these are just some of the things. Of course, our vacation repair program that continues every year. We had some hiccups, but we are up and going. We have a plan in terms of how we are going to execute. And of course, I can say that by next year, we will be even more efficient, because we have identified where the sticking points are. Truth be told is we had some staffing issues and so on. And by next year, that is going to be fixed. So that we have been looking at all of these things, and there are many, many more minor, I should say, routine issues that we normally look at, and we are trying to bring a lot of efficiency to what we do, because I am very concerned about productivity. I'm concerned that we are not getting our pound of flesh. Persons may say that it's ironic that now I'm the Secretary of Education, I'm asking for a pound of flesh, but as I often say to people, my role has changed, and therefore I have to do the best that I can in the capacity that I now hold. And therefore, asking for productivity and asking for persons to really do their jobs when they go out there, I think that's something that, as Secretary of Education, I should do, because that is one of the major concerns that I have: punctuality and regularity and so on. It is not an issue that is only in the Division of Education. It is across the Tobago House of Assembly, because persons often talk about the politicians and what is not happening, but we need to understand that if we have to build this island, that every one of us, each of us, has to do our part, our little part, when we go to work every day. So, but I don't want to talk only about those issues. I can also talk about the fact that we did launch a new initiative, a Taste of TVET, that was launched on the 13th, where we invited 120 secondary school students, both boys and girls, and they were exposed to different aspects of technical vocational education at the National Energy and Skills Center in Goldsboro, because we recognize that many persons are not filtering into the field of technical vocational education. As a matter of fact,
all right, Mr. Kai, I want to ask you to hold it, because this is a whole new dimension in terms of how we treat with education in this era. So I want to ask you to just hold that point. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take it up right there with the whole idea of skills and vocational training. Viewers, we ask you to stay with us. We'll be right back. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success, Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
Every village has a story. Every tradition has a voice. This July 16th to August 1st, discover them all at the 2026 Tobago Heritage Festival. This year's theme, Let We Tell the Whole Story, invites you to experience the customs, resilience, and rich cultural legacy that continue to define Tobago. Join us for unforgettable performances, village celebrations, and authentic cultural experiences across the island. The Tobago Heritage Festival 2026. Let we tell the whole story. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for event details.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Tobago, are you ready to celebrate culture, color, and creativity? Then make Heritage Haven books and things your first stop this Heritage Festival. Step into a world of vibrant African wear, handcrafted accessories, unique gifts, local authors, and inspiring books for every age. Whether you're dressing for the festivities or searching for something special, Heritage Haven has something just for you. Heritage Haven books and things where culture comes alive. Visit us today at the Scarborough Esplanade and discover treasures. Celebrate culture where read it, live it.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Yes, thank you for staying with us. We continue a conversation with Mr. Orlando Kerr, Secretary for Education, Skills and Innovation Area Representative for Roxborough, Argyle. Are you still with us, Mr. Kerr?
Yes, I have, sir.
All right. So you were just starting the discussion on TVET and the introduction of our young people to vocational and skills training.
Yes, sir. So one of the things that we recognize is that in Tobago, there's a perception about TVET that it's for people who have failed or people who are not as bright as the persons who are doing academics. And therefore, we launched our Taste of TVET program this year. That's a new initiative that we launched. And it started on I think it was the 13th of July, where we have 120 students from across Tobago, the various secondary schools. And they are at the National Energy Skills Center in Goldsboro. And they will be getting a taste of about 5 different areas: automotive maintenance, welding, electrical, air conditioning and refrigeration, and information technology. And what this is geared at is to let them actually go into the actual, practical of doing these things, getting that kind of experience, as we said, a taste, so that we are hoping that from this experience, many of them will continue in that field, right? And so far, it has been very successful because we have been always talking about the dual track of education. We have been talking about, allowing our young people to either go into the academics or into the skills. But before, there wasn't really that avenue for them. And therefore, we have provided this avenue. And of course, it is something that we believe we will continue. Of course, we are going to evaluate it at the end of this period. And we are going to make whatever adjustments that we need to make. But I think that it is going to result in many of our young people, after the experience that they would have had over the next 5 weeks, many of them will have a different perspective on TVET. And that is what we want, because we really want many of our young persons to get into the skill area as well. So that's a new initiative that we launched.
How do we translate that probably to the wider community? Because we still, by and large, have a society that impresses on children that you have to do the academics, and I'm not saying that the academics are bad, but you have to do the academics. So you have to be a lawyer and a doctor and an accountant and a nurse. And we tend to think still that the skills or the trades, as we traditionally call them, are for those who are less intelligent. And I'm not sure I want a less intelligent person doing maintenance on my vehicle. But that aside, how do we transmit this to the wider population that it is a good path to point our children in, so that you have more I don't want to feed into the narrative, but if you have people who are capable at academics, I suspect strongly they are also better able to understand the nuances of welding, the chemical side of the MIG and TIG welding, and the electronics. I don't want the wrong person doing electrical installation for me either, because that's a significant hazard. How do we transmit this? Is the division looking at programs that would help the wider population understand the value of technical and vocational and skills education right there alongside the traditional academics, so that you can have an accountant who can, at least on the weekend, if he or she chooses, at least maintain his own vehicle? Are we looking at programs that is going to help the public understand this any better?
Well, I think you asked a very wide question there. And yes, we are starting to try to change the narrative of technical vocational education. And that is why we have started with the secondary school students, because the conversation has to start. And we didn't only start the conversation, but we actually did the program. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of programs that we are in discussion with the same National Energy Skills Center. And some of them actually involve persons who are out of school, because one of the things we recognize in Tobago is that we have many young persons who are actually out of school who are not employable. They don't have a skill, they don't have an education in terms of academics, and therefore we have a responsibility to ensure that we retool our young people. But as I said, the perception of TVET is one that we have to change the narrative. And I think one of the ways we can change the narrative is to let people understand how lucrative a career in TVET is, because many of these persons who are skilled persons, they make a very lucrative career. And therefore people have to understand that, it's an option to be, involved in TVET. As a matter of fact, we have been, during this year vocation repair, we are going to spend a significant sum on the Roxborough Trade Center. For the longest of whiles, the Roxborough Trade Center has been in a dismal condition and so on. When I became secretary, I said to my PIU unit, we are going to be doing some work on Roxborough Trade Center, significant work in terms of the infrastructure. We have met with the tutors. We are looking at the curriculum. We are looking at how materials and so on are sourced for the Roxborough Trade Center. We are looking at the equipment. So we're going to be doing a total overhaul of Roxborough Trade Center. And all of this is to signal to persons that we are serious about TVET. Because we cannot just talk about TVET, but we have to be serious and we have to show that intent. And we have been doing that. And as I said, by September or so, you would see that the Roxborough Trade Center is being transformed or has been transformed. And not only in terms of the building, but in terms of what is offered, in terms of the materials and in terms of the equipment and so on. We have put in significant resources into the Roxborough Trade Center. And all of that is to show the intent. We intend to, after we have completed the Roxborough Trade Center, to have discussions with the community of Bonaccord and environs to look at reviving the Trade Center in Bonaccord as well. We are in discussion. We actually have a committee now that was commissioned a few months ago to look at TVET in a comprehensive manner across Tobago, to bring all the players together, MIC, YTEP, because many of these programs are operating in silos, and now we have all of the players coming together to sit and let us look at the direction in which we can all work together. In many instances, we had duplication of courses and so on. So we are serious about TVET. We have a committee now, and they have been tasked, they have been given a few months to point us in the direction, to give us that lead in terms of how we want to build out TVET in Tobago. But while we wait on that committee, we are starting the process. As I said, we have started at Roxborough. We are doing the taste of TVET now at Goldsboro. And we have some other programs that we want to bring on stream that will involve persons who are not in the school, but who are out into the community, things like heavy equipment operation and so on, not just the traditional areas. So we really want to spread ourselves across Tobago and to really start upskilling the young people in Tobago, because we need to do that if we have to develop this island and move this island forward.
I think that's a critical thing, and just a note for our viewers, AI is not going to lay tiles in your floor, AI is not going to repair your plumbing. Our young people need to be able to work with their hands and to do things. I want us to transition a bit to one of the less pleasant areas that you've certainly had to deal with, and one of the things that continues to challenge our society, and that's the issue of discipline, or what some may call indiscipline in schools. We've seen a number of cases where children are behaving in manner that we consider less than desirable, and it seems as though, because we may not have all the information, but it would seem as though principals, teachers, the division is unable to actually do something that's effective. But tell us from your perspective, because we may not know the whole story, what is the situation and what is being done to address issues of discipline in schools?
But let me just say, right, that is you identify the problem there. Because when people believe that discipline in schools should be left up to the Division of Education and to the teachers and the principals, that is where the problem starts. You have identified the problem. Because discipline in our society cannot be left up to the school. We know that when we grew up, the various institutions, the church, the school, the family, played a part in how we were socialized. And that is the bottom line, in that we need to continue to bring back some of those things. We need to look at how all those institutions can work together to assist in the discipline of our young children. Because, we at the level of the division, we are trying different things. And as we spoke about TVET, we have actually 2 secondary schools outlined for an enhanced TVET program that I did not even remember to mention that they're going to have an enhanced TVET program. We are looking at Mason Hall, where we have been having some challenges. We want to look at doing an extensive agricultural program at Mason Hall, because when students are engaged, they are less likely to get involved in discipline. We know that our secondary or universal secondary education has not helped the situation, where we have students who are having challenges with academics who are just placed at secondary schools, and therefore we have to be proactive in terms of how we treat with that. So that at the Division of Education, we are looking at programs that can assist the students who are having challenges. I can also say to you that we are in the process of implementing the remedial teachers program at 2 of our secondary schools in Tobago, and at, I think it's about 5 primary schools, so that we believe that the issue of discipline has to be handled in a holistic manner. It cannot be reactive, it cannot be punitive, it cannot be that you are only focusing on suspensions or putting police in schools. While those things are there to assist the process, we have to look at a long-term solution, and the long-term solution really lies in trying to understand the reason why students behave the way they do. And I can submit that if students are not engaged, that is one of the major challenges, that is one of the major contributors to indiscipline. But when students are challenged, when students' interest and so on are in those kinds of behavior. So that is what we are looking at. As I said, we are looking at bringing back remedial teachers to some of the schools. We are looking at having programs, agricultural, tech work, sports, and those kinds of areas, so that we can reach all of our students, so that secondary schools, they are engaged and their interests are being met.
Right,
but as I said earlier, we would also want the other institutions, such as the family and so on, and the church and all of that, to come back into the picture, because that is what it was. That is why we are the way we are, because we interacted with the village, and the village, they said they take a village to raise a child and all of that, and we have moved away from a lot of the things that worked.
All right, so we hear you on that. We want to quickly, as we bring the interview to it, and we want to talk just quickly. We've had a few appearances on this program by the person who may not have immediately succeeded you, but now the tutor district staff rep, and there are issues of appointments, and there are issues of leave and all that. And he expressed quite some disappointment, not necessarily in the division, but again, the service commission and what have you. Can you tell us, do you have any information on any updates where those issues are concerned? I know you mentioned issues of appointments, but he spoke specifically about some issues with leave classification and all that. Is there an update that came to the division in recent times on that situation?
Yes, recently, in terms of that issue, the box was of the leave they were catalogued and sent back to Trinidad, and it is being treated as a special project where the Ministry of Education has given the undertaking that they are going to treat with them. But the solution going forward, in terms of having Tobago classify our own leave, that is also, we are still waiting on a note from Cabinet, and that is something that we should be meeting with the Minister soon, and that is going to be at the top of the agenda. Some of the other issues of appointments and so on, as I explained earlier, those are handled by the Teaching Service Commission, and therefore, I can't say that we are powerless, because I have been putting a lot of pressure on the Teaching Service Commission, and that is why I called them out earlier, because I have been making numerous calls indicating to them the length of time that we have been waiting to have our interviews of our principals and our teachers and our middle management and so on, and that really that Tobago cannot continue to be placed on the back burner. And I'm one secretary that will take the Teaching Service Commission head on, because we need to have our schools well staffed and so on. We already have challenges that was identified, and therefore when we have schools that are short staffed and schools that are have acting principals for 4 and 5 years, that does not do well for our system here in Tobago. But before we wrap, I really want to say that the call on ECC is almost complete, and that we will, which is a big ticket item, we will be awarding a contract for Scarborough Sec very, very soon, right? And I think that is good news for Tobago, because Tobago has been waiting. This is Tobago school, and we have been waiting for a very long time, to have Scarborough Sec started. I felt that many persons in the public space did not understand, when you're building a secondary school, how complex the issue is. It is not something that can happen overnight. This administration is a young administration, and I think that we are poised to start Scarborough Sec is a major accomplishment. It's a major accomplishment, right? We are almost completing, as I said, Colon should be ready in about a month or so again, so that many things are happening in education, more than I can mention here. But we are committed to lifting the standard of education on the island. We have many things that we have started. I didn't mention that we are almost complete with the issue of the maxi taxi drivers. We are looking back at how we interact with our caterers, because we know that they need relief. So there are many persons who are hoping that things can change, and things are changing, but everything will not change at the same time. I know that recently there was a report about the ECC teachers in Tobago saying that they want an increase in salary. I had a meeting with them a couple of weeks ago, and I did explain to them that the process of getting an increase in salary cannot happen overnight, and there are many things that must happen before we know if and how and what is the quantum of an increase. And I was disappointed to learn that they went into the media, I'm not sure who, and started to spew some misinformation into the media, and that is the nature of how things are done now. But I've been saying since I've become secretary that I am not the secretary to respond to social media, and I want to say that again. Let us sit at the table and discuss and have frank, open, honest, realistic discussion, because the issue of a salary increase has to be quantified. You have to look at it. You have to look at your job spec. You have to look at what you are doing. You have to look at the contracts that we have in Tobago as opposed to what happens in Trinidad, because the contracts are different. We have to look at the terms of engagement. We have to look at the period. We have to look at affordability. We have to look at so many things. So if we had a meeting about 3-4 weeks ago, I don't know that it's realistic to expect that you're going to get a salary increase in the next 2 months.
Well, Mr. Kui, I want to thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we have to put it here, but we thank you for coming and sharing with us, and certainly we want to end on the pleasantries of the almost complete Colon Early Childhood Education Center and the cusp of the beginning of construction for Scarborough Secondary School. Thank you again for joining us.
I know you went to Scarborough Sec.
I heard you went there too.
All right. You have a pleasant day to you. And
thank you again for joining us, and all the best.
Yes, sir.
Viewers, we take a short break. When we come back, we speak with Ms. Diane Haddad, former head of the Tobago Chamber of Commerce, and we talk about the Sea Bridge and the cargo ferry. Stay with us and remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pooled procurement of medicine or pooled procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Wait. We're going. Airport.
Come back this way. Catch you roundabout and go down.
Right here.
Leave on time to be on time.
Today we are here at the new A&R Robinson International Airport, and we are doing a simulation along with the Airport Authority and the TTPS to do some observation for the traffic plan that we have implemented for the opening of the new terminal building. So starting Wednesday, July 22nd, the Division of Public Infrastructure and Transportation along with the TTPS will be at this intersection, and we will be implementing a traffic plan. Just continue around the circle. What is important in this entire traffic arrangement is that if you are coming from Crown Point, you're coming from the west and you want to go further east than the airport terminal, we advise that you either use Milford Road, go onto Silk Cotton Trace, and use one of the side streets between Milford Road and Tobago Local Road. All traffic between Kilgwin Bay Road and Gaskin Road will be coming west only. So that is one of the important points that we have to get into our systems as we learn to navigate around the new arrangements at the new A&R Robinson International Terminal going forward. But we want to assure you that we will help you to get used to it. We will circulate information. We will be here at the intersections along with the police while you get used to the arrangement to assist you in circulating and to getting to where you need to go safely and quickly.
Every village has a story. Every tradition has a voice. This July 16th to August 1st, discover them all at the 2026 Tobago Heritage Festival. This year's theme, Let We Tell the Whole Story, invites you to experience the customs, resilience, and rich cultural legacy that continue to define Tobago. Join us for unforgettable performances, village celebrations, and authentic cultural experiences across the island. The Tobago Heritage Festival 2026. Let we tell the whole story. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for event details.
Okay. 335, 336, 337, 338, 339,
Counting on your fingers again. No wonder you lose your business.
Grandpa, thanks for helping me start over.
You not lucky in business, you know. As a child, you tried to sell hog plum. That failed. As a teenager, you and your boyfriend tried to break into the jewelry business. But hey, where that boy end up?
He live in Aruka in the Grove. The golden one.
Oh, child, if you want to get into business, you have to have your financial records intact. But hey, do you know your numbers?
Of course, 624 333.
No, child, your numbers, your ratios, your equity ratios. You have a financial handicap.
What?
You need to see somebody about that. Anderson.
Who?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago, they offer tax and accounting services. They know about financial management.
Grandpa, I started this business with nothing.
And nothing is what you will end up with unless you call Anderson Services. Here.
Okay, this card is nice.
Yeah.
What's this?
Your rental fee. Have business will pay rent. Hot and groovy in the soca party.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us. We continue this morning's show. As promised before the break, we're talking to Miss Diane Haddad. A very vocal Miss Haddad, who is no longer head of the Tobago Chamber of Commerce, but still certainly very vocal, letting her voice be heard and letting her thoughts be known on things that affect business and the business community here in Trinidad and Tobago, and particularly in Tobago. Good morning, Miss Haddad, and welcome.
Good morning, Alex. Good morning to your viewers and all the public that's going to participate in your looking on after even the show is over.
Ms. Haddad, we jump straight into it. You've made some comments about the issues of the Sea Bridge, even when the Blue Wave Harmony was coming to the country. There's a lot being said. It came onto the Sea Bridge. There were some challenges. Things appeared to settle down for a while, and then some other challenges emerged. And we're seeing now that it's going to be replaced, albeit temporarily, by the official reports we've had by, I'm trying to pull the name of the university, the Golden Carrier, and that's supposed to start shortly. You have a position on why that is so.
Yes, I do, and I am very strong about this. I'm not going to back down from it because the truth lies in the action. You know, people could talk, but the action, and I am one business owner that felt every pitfall of that entry of the Blue Wave Harmony. And I did not sit in Tobago and wait to find out or get a phone call. I physically left here and went to Trinidad and was up and down on that plane trying to get trucks loaded out. Because remember, we were asking warehouses in Trinidad to open for us at 11 o'clock and midnight to load, to catch back a ferry that we didn't know what time it would depart. It was a nightmare. Yes, we've had nightmares, but Carnival Friday night, I slept on a chair on the edge of that boat, waiting to know what was going on, because they called all of us to come and take back off trucks because the arm, it wasn't going up. Listen, we don't have the time on the show this morning to go through all of that. But my position then was that ferry was not able to do the work, and it continued, as you just said, to be the same story. In fact, I got a message recently that the boat had another bounce again recently, which they've kept very quiet. And there was another hole in it, but not a dangerous, they did whatever patch. So it takes us back to where the business community, doing our own research, and we are no boat experts, but definitely having interacted with the business where we've had to do this for the number of years, that the bow thrusters were not working or not working properly. and therefore the guiding of the boat was a problem. But let's take the bow thrusters out, which is a major problem, because we can't say the captain is not a good captain. The man has captained for years and captained ships all over the place for years, so that made no sense. Just saying the captain bongs the boat and the captain.
And I don't think a captain wants that on his record, so you'll try to avoid that anyway.
Exactly. And after that, one of the things I want us to put into the mix, the reason you have not heard much hurrah over it is because the economy is so flat that the demand is not there. So it is the basic going up and down that's going on. And the drivers, I mean, much in apathy, they are quite lethargic about it because, as we know, the toilets were not working. They put on park disposals on the ferry. And although the minister made this big hurrah, parading and doing videos, I mean, I happened to be on the port 2 o'clock in the morning when she went on, when she was acting Prime Minister at the time in February. I was the only business person down there, right, with one of my drivers, waiting to find out what was happening. She came in with the whole entourage, flashing lights, and they went to video everything, and they told us we had to leave the port, so they went to make all these videos to flash, to put out there. And I want to say that, to say to the public, we need to stop being fooled, right? Because all that hurrah that the boat was this great boat and it could take the cargo and look at the size of it, those were not the things that the business community were quarreling about, okay? We were bringing to the table that the ferry had mechanical issues that were causing serious disruptions, right? And the captain insisted that he could not carry the boat into Tobago for 8 o'clock in the night or whatever. He had to bring it in the day. So although our goods were on that ferry in Trinidad since whatever hour of the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning before, we weren't getting it till the following day, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning over here. So people have to understand that when we were speaking, it wasn't about attacking anybody. It was the real experience of what was taking place.
No, you're claiming now that the position you took then has been validated by what NITCO
I am
is telling
fully
us.
vindicated.
NITCO is telling us that the owners have done this substitution to allow scheduled maintenance.
Listen, you know, these days you have to be worried, right? I might have to pack my bags and wait to be picked up for the detention center. But at the end of the day, those are all communication language to ease the public, make the public be a number bundle of fools. I think we need to come out of that stage. The boat has been a failure in terms of its mechanics to do the job, and something is fundamentally wrong. The air conditions were never working on the ferry. They tried to fix it while the boat was in its first stage. You remember we had sea trials for a month of sea trials. Never had that in my life. You don't even do sea trials with load on it, which is what they gave us that crap the other night. You don't do sea trials. I've never heard of the sea trials with people's cargo on it. And then they took 45 drivers the first night. The second night now, even on this golden carrier, we can't carry any people. We have already
Would
had...
that be an issue of insurance? I'm just asking.
Very possible. We don't know. Remember, it's now Secret Service going on. And that's why in my interview, and you would have seen the write-up in the article, there has been no communication with the people who use the vessel in a real way. Not about the few truckers that you could fool and talk nice to, and, you know, they're so happy to meet a minister that, you know, they are fooled by all of this. When the real business of ferry is not servicing the island of Tobago the way it's supposed to.
So you're saying that we do not know, in terms of what is going to be delivered, we know what the capacity of the ferry is, because they've lined that out, 240 passengers and however many vehicles and so on. But we do not know at this point whether all is actually going to be delivered.
Because, like the Blue Wave Harmony, it had all the capacity, the lane meters for the vehicles and whatever, and told us it had cold storage plugs and whatever. I have a picture on my phone of the cold storage plugs. I needed to know if our trucks could have plugged in. on it. And it is for those old reef containers, you know, the reefers. And the plug looked like if you plug anything into it, the whole boat might have blown up. When I sent that to the people at Meckle Fab, they said, listen, don't even attempt anything in that. That is so old, it isn't even safe or functional now for you to use. So when it came, and this is the MV Blue Wave, the air conditions were not working, the toilets were not working, and it's so the bow thrusters were giving trouble. We had the big rip in the boat, you know, we had all the different, the ramp, the arm for the ramp got bent in trying to come up because of the weight on the boat, and they're trying to. I sat and watched all of that. I sat and watched them go and pull parts out that boat in big wooden crates, as if they had a mechanic shop on there, you know, a spare part. Listen, that was a nightmare. And I am saying, to be honest, we need to come forward and bring in all these old boats. You know, we had a good police officer called Old Boat. Well, that is the only old boat Tobago could deal with again. These old boats that they keep bringing here, it cannot be that Trinidad and Tobago have so many stupid people that we can't fix a boat problem, a ferry issue, the service between the two islands. What is so fundamentally wrong with our capacity that we can't get the right boat?
But that raises an interesting question, because this issue seems, at least over my lifetime, to have spanned every administration we've had in government.
So bingo.
So is there really not an issue in terms of our capacity?
And this
or is there something that has been underlying every government?
Well, listen, I also said it in the article, and in the article, the guy was very creative in how he put it. But the truth of the matter is, what interest is there for ministers to keep changing? And I'm going back now to the superfast Galicia. Super experience Tobagonians had. Super experience. And I'm not joking. From the Panorama to the Warrior Spirit. You see the superfast Galicia? Best experience. And I'll tell you what was the best experience for me as an employer, and watching my staff being able to go home by 9 o'clock in the night. That was the best feeling for me. And I'll tell you why. The boat had the speed and they used it. So it came in early by 6:30, 7, that vessel was in here. And we were able to turn around. And when we came back, they allowed us to board one time. So families were able to go home. Men were able to go home. Well, hopefully they didn't stay and line by the port. But it was, to me, a value that contributed to the build of society, which is something we were just speaking about prior to the interview. And the port then told them to slow down the speed of the vessel. Don't come in so early because they're using too much fuel. So I want to know in the country, where are our values, our real values? Yeah? Because this fuel then serves the people. And if I can send home 300 families every night at a decent hour, isn't that something for my people? So the boat slow down the knots so that we'll use less fuel. Okay? That is number one. So telling me it's going at 18.5 knots or whatever, I could tell you they are going to be given the knots to come in at, so they could come in here at the same hour, so that we will still be suffering every night until skating for 11 o'clock. Okay? And then getting to go home. The other part that you asked that I did not fully answer has to do with why every administration we have this transformation and transition of mess. There has to be a fundamental self-interest why persons continuously interfere with that ferry service. And that's why I'm saying, from the superfast Galicia into the fiasco of this Cabo Star. No, the Cabo Star, remember? Listen, I had 3 sleepless nights then. I sat on the same chair, barely got a shower on the second day. when all the lawyers were fighting in house over this, whether the boat staying or it going or whatever, whether they signed any contract or not signed. It was a mess. I was ahead in the chamber at that time, right? I cannot understand, just the logic, simple logic. Why would you fight to move something that somebody was offering? The price was about half of what we pay now, you know. The Superfast Galicia was about, I think, don't quote me, but about 14,000 US, you know, a day, you know. How we paying? We went from that to 23 or 20 something thousand US a day. So we were fighting to kick that out, to bring in something. Whose interest does it serve? Has to be the people who are involved. And that is simple police logic, right? So that we created a fiasco. And then here we come again, administration change.
But the problem remains. So, Ms. Hannah, let's get to the crux of your own design now, because you're saying that there's been no consultation with anybody on the vessel that's being replaced or the vessel that is doing the replacing. So we do not know if all the capacity that is built is actually available.
Well, they did not have a consultation with the last one. And to me, the only reason you will do that is there are things to hide. And it came out in the Blue Wave Harmony.
How in going forward, how do you perceive that we get the information we need? Because prior to the show starting, I was telling somebody, the off-air staff, that if this boat has all this capacity, I may take the boat with my vehicle overnight, take a sleep and so on. But what do you see as the next step?
But the other vessel, the Blue Wave Harmony, had all the what do you call it, cabins and so. They still could not use them. People were sleeping on the outside.
So what do you perceive as the next step in terms of, one, getting the information, and two, actually having a service that works well for the people?
You know, that really comes down to honesty. That really comes down to leadership. That speaks to us really wanting to go there for the right reason. I don't think, and I'm saying this bluntly, I don't think our politicians in any party are there for really service to country. I really think our politics has reached a stage where opportunity for the purse, I think that's what it is. And we could stop politicking around it and being discreet about it or whatever, because I think everybody speaks it on the ground. Who is next? When you put on, you have to be in the ring, you're now considered some sort of a bandit because your agenda is not clean or pure. And that's the sad part for the country.
Really, really very unfortunate, Ms. Hannah. That's all the time unfortunate that we have this morning. We thank you for coming and for sharing, for of course, reminding our viewers of some of the history in terms of recent history in terms of cargo transport between the islands. And certainly we hope that there's a far better resolution experience than we've had in recent times. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And I would like to also thank the person who did the article. He did an excellent article. It was my views. It didn't have any extra pieces on it. It was clear. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to actually explain, because I think too many of us just listen to people that we look up to and hope that they are really carrying us down the right path. But in many instances, I think we are being deceived. Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us. And viewers, that's where we bring an end to this morning's show. We certainly hope that you enjoyed the time with us, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. The programming here on Tobago Updates is not yet done. GMT is up next between now and then. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
I've heard of this OCSification Employment Program through social media, right? I signed up for the program hoping to be enrolled to get greater insights into the operations of the Office of the Chief Secretary, seeing that this office is essentially the premier office of all the divisions across the Tobago House of Assembly. I hope that at the end of this program I will be able to gain greater skills that will help me in the long run. Seeing that I would be completing my A-level studies at Bishop's High School just now, going into university pretty soon. I hope that this program will give me the necessary skills and develop me as a young person as I go into university and the world of work.
Remember when July-August vacation finally arrived? It meant freedom, no school, no homework, just fun. Those moments will always be special, but as time changes, so do the opportunities. Today, our teenagers can use their vacation to do more than make memories. They can build their future.
We are genuinely excited to have you. Yes, we are truly grateful to host you for the next 2 months of the 2026 Vacation Employment Program. This program promised to be a fulfilling exchange, not just for you, but for us as well. We too will gain valuable experience as public officers from you being here. I have always believed that there is so much power when different generations are open and willing to learn from each other. So I encourage all of us, trainees and public officers alike, to fully embrace this process. And let us be intentional about pouring into one another during this time. Through this initiative by the Office of the Chief Secretary, young Tobagonians are being given an incredible opportunity. Over the next 2 months, you will gain practical experience, and I cannot overstate how important that is, especially when such opportunities are becoming increasingly difficult for young people. Therefore, endeavors such as these play a critical role.
Through the Office of the Chief Secretary Vacation Employment Program, young people are getting a head start into the world of work. They're gaining hands-on experience, developing valuable workplace skills, building confidence, and discovering what it means to be a part of a professional team.
I learned it through a school group chat, where the group chat basically aims in exposing students to things that they can better their skill sets and gain new experiences. And well, in this program, I just hope to gain new experiences and a wider skill set and skill range.
The reason why I applied for this internship is because I enjoy gaining new experiences, learning new things, and strengthening the existing skills that I possess at the moment. And I pay particular attention to detail, and I ensure that while working that everything is done how it needs to be done. I hope to gain new experiences and leave here not leaving as the same person, but coming out as a new, like an evolved version of myself, equipped for whatever challenges may come my way in different work experiences here on Fort.
I heard about this program through our principal at Signal Hill Secondary School, where she sent it in a group chat that we have that focuses on pushing students to further their education. From this internship, I hope to just gain skills on, well, how to operate in the workplace, especially as I'm going to finish my tenure at Signal Hill Secondary School and I'm going to be going into the world of work. So I hope that this opportunity grants me the skills that are necessary to excel in the workplace here.
So while this may not be anything like summer camp, vacation Bible school, or youth community activities, rest assured the future of Tobago is being shaped one young person, one opportunity, one experience at a time.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly. You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Chanel Felix. And you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Director of Public Prosecution, Roger Gaspard, Senior Counsel, advised investigators to charge a 33-year-old Canaan man with manslaughter following the death of 7-year-old Angelissa Jogi. The charge stemmed from the death of the 7-year-old on April 8 at Pigeon Point Marine Park, where a jet ski collided with the child in a designated bathing area. Officers re-arrested the suspect yesterday ahead of his scheduled High Court appearance today. Additionally, the Service Commission Department announced that the 2026 Fire Service Entrance Examination for Grade 1 firefighters will take place on Saturday, August 22nd. Applicants are urged to check their email accounts for official notification letters. Candidates must present their notification letter along with valid picture identification at the District Revenue Office to confirm payment before sitting the exam. Candidates who haven't received their electronic notification letter by July 31st must contact the Service Commission Department by August 5th. And finally, all branches of Works Credit Union were forced to close yesterday as staff embarked on strike actions. The Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union confirmed that the industrial action was taken after contract negotiations remained stalled for over a year. While credit union management assured members that efforts are on the way to resolve the dispute, branches across Trinidad and Tobago remain closed until further notice. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a quick break right here and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
Are you ready to celebrate culture, color, and creativity? Then make Heritage Haven books and things your first stop this Heritage Festival. Step into a world of vibrant African wear, handcrafted accessories, unique gifts, local authors, and inspiring books for every age. Whether you're dressing for the festivities or searching for something special, Heritage Haven has something just for you. Heritage Haven books and things where culture comes alive. Visit us today at the Scarborough Esplanade and discover treasures. Celebrate culture where read it, live it.
Tobago Updates.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Base. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we have the privilege of chatting online with Mr. David Abdullah, who is the political leader of the MSJ and the trade unionist and social activist. This morning we are chatting about citizens' rights and freedom of speech under the state of emergency. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. I hope you're hearing and seeing me okay.
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you. I know you have been doing a lot of work, in your social activism as well as political activism from time to time. And one of the things that we've seen in this particular state of emergency, almost unprecedented, the amount of arrests of persons for speech-related incidences or offenses, we may say, going all the way to the protests that took place on Labor Day, and a number of other small incidences on social media where a number of persons would have been arrested since this particular administration has taken office. Tell us a bit about what we're seeing here. Some are calling it a dictatorial style of governance.
Yes, and I lost you for a moment. Sorry.
Yes, I'm saying, talk to us a bit about where you stand as it pertains to the amount of speech-related arrests that we've seen since this government has taken office.
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me, and very good morning to Tobago being on. The state of emergency, well, we've had several, yes, beginning in the end of December 2024 when the PNM was in government, and then when the UNC came in, they introduced state of emergency, which was extended, so it went on and then they started another one earlier this year, which is ongoing, come to an end in the middle of September, and I don't get the special majority of the Parliament, House, and of the Senate required for them to extend it beyond September. So the state of emergency, or the states of emergency, had several, were expressly provided by the president and then extended by the House majority on each occasion on the basis of specific threats that were of them. They claimed prison walls, assassination plans, and so on, and to deal with gang violence and the rise of as a result of gang violence. So there were etc. Now, the proclamation nothing to do with the issue of public assembly or expression or protest, and the regulations up until the end of this year did not restrict any assemblies. In other words, people could gather, because of course we have had major activities, states of emergency, times, carnival, all kinds of other, normal, or there are no curfews or anything like that. But
it seems that we're having a bit of a technical issue hearing you. You seem that your connection is a bit weak and you're going in and out.
Yes, I don't know why. What I could do is I could put on, I run my phone off of data normally, which is usually fairly good. So let me just try and switch on my hotspot.
Yes, and we'll take a quick break right here, and we'll be back as we allow you to rectify any connectivity issues that you may be having on your end. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more on this conversation after this. See you soon.
Every village has a story. Every tradition has a voice. This July 16th to August 1st, discover them all at the 2026 Tobago Heritage Festival. This year's theme, Let We Tell the Whole Story, invites you to experience the customs, resilience, and rich cultural legacy that continue to define Tobago. Join us for unforgettable performances, village celebrations, and authentic cultural experiences across the island. The Tobago Heritage Festival 2026. Let we tell the whole story. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for event details.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success, Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pooled procurement of medicine or pooled procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we are back and we are connecting with Mr. David Abdullah, who is the political leader of the MSG, a trade unionist as well as a social activist. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning. I hope this is better now. Hopefully
yes,
we don't have any
you're
connectivity
totally better
problems.
now. So
All right, thanks.
I am going to actually ask the question again about
I
this
heard the question.
administration and you know the amount of arrests that we've seen for speech-related incidences.
Yeah, sure. So I was making the point that when the states of emergency were declared, of course, we've had several, right? The first was by the PNM in December 2024. Then when the UNC came in, they introduced one, and that was extended for 6 months and a couple of days. And then earlier this year, the UNC had a second one. Now, the states of emergency, as proclaimed by the president, the reasons were specifically to deal with issues such as gang violence, to disrupt the gangs, to enable the security forces to disrupt the gangs, and therefore to deal with murders and that kind of thing, guns and other forms of violent crime, and also to deal with alleged threats that were coming from behind prison walls to assassinate persons in the police service, the prison service, members of government, and so on. So those were the expressed reasons articulated by Her Excellency the President, on the advice, obviously, of the Cabinet, for the proclamation of the various states of emergency that we have had. Now, the government itself said that this has nothing to do with people's right to assemble or to protest, and so we have had, no restrictions, for example, on people being out at all hours of the day and night. There are no curfews, there'll be no curfews, and public activities, whether they be fetes or other kinds of activities, have taken place as normal. However, you saw a change in the government's approach at the end of May, somewhere around the end of May, when in response to the protests by people who were calling for justice for Joshua and for Kaya, Joshua, of course, being the young man who was killed by the police and Kyle Seeley, his girlfriend, who was also shot, and so on. And so they were calling for justice for Joshua and Kyle. And there were a number of protests, and immediately after the protest outside the DPP's office on Richmond Street, which actually was shifted by the police, and the protesters agreed to go a little lower, so they were not directly in front of the DPP's office. They were in front of the Rosary Church on Richmond Street, and I was there when Alyssa Phillip and her mother, Camille Carrasquero, were arrested. And we then got new regulations under the state of emergency issued by the Commissioner of Police, banning gatherings of anybody within 400 meters of a number of public buildings, the Parliament or the Red House, Ministry of Finance, Prime Minister's office, and others, including the police headquarters and all police stations in the country. What in effect that did was to prevent any kind of public demonstrations in most of Port of Spain. And so you now had the state of emergency being used to stifle and suppress protest actions, legitimate protest actions, which were peaceful. There were no violent incidents, legitimate protest actions, which was, in my view, inconsistent with the stated objectives of the state of emergency as expressed explicitly in the proclamations that were issued by Her Excellency, the President. So there was a clear shift. And so that has been a major thing. And as a result of that, then, you saw people being arrested, although not charged or detained under the state of emergency regulations. So Alyssa Phillip and her mother were arrested twice, once at the end of May on Richmond Street, and then secondly on June 19th in Faizabad. And they were not charged with anything under the state of emergency, but they were charged with other kinds of offences, and those matters are now before the courts. I'm not going to speak about them more, except to say that, in my own view, certainly both arrests were absolutely unnecessary, totally unnecessary, and were an abuse of police power. And the one on Labour Day, the Commissioner of Police said he had to protect the sanctity of Labour Day, which is an absolute nonsense. The sanctity of Labour Day has to be protected by the labour movement and by the working class, not by the Commissioner of Police. And anybody, as the Calypsonian sang, the road made to walk on Carnival Day. On Labour Day, the road made to walk, and everybody is free to walk. Yes? But the courts will determine that. So you have seen that, and certainly the restrictions on protests within 400 meters of designated sites is an attempt to stifle democratic freedom of expression and the right to assemble. And it is, as I said, inconsistent with the stated requirements or reasons for the state of emergency. Now, the other thing about the state of emergency, and legal minds are weighing in on this now, people have said that before, but legal minds are weighing in on this, that the state of emergency is not a crime-fighting tool. The government seems to be using it as a crime-fighting tool. But the state of emergency really is to be declared in exceptional circumstances, whether it is a natural disaster like a hurricane or earthquake, or perhaps some other kind of massive natural disaster, or if there was a major, like we had in COVID, where you had a pandemic, and so they required a state of emergency to deal with that. Outside of that is when the institutions of state break down. So today is the 28th of July, and in 1990, on the 28th of July, a state of emergency would have been declared in the aftermath of the July 27th, 1990 attack on the Parliament, the hostage taking, and the attack on TTT and the taking of hostages there. So, and in that circumstance, that was clearly a justifiable act by the state, because the institutions of state were not able to function. The police was in some disarray and so on. In those circumstances, the courts would have been problematic. Of course, the cabinet, most of the members of cabinet were hostages in the Parliament. The Parliament could not function. So the institutions of state could not function, and that was therefore an exceptional circumstance and required a state of public emergency. So,
understood.
In this situation, sorry, go ahead. Yes.
No, I would allow you to finish that sentence because I think you were going to hit on one of your key points as well. And then we'll go into some of the most recent issues.
Yes, developments. Yes. So in this situation, a number of legal minds, including Mr. Ramesh Lawrence Maraj, when he gave an address recently to the Assembly of Southern Lawyers, made the point that, and Mr. Nizam Mohammed, when he spoke at the forum that we organized as the People's Roundtable, and that was held last Saturday, they were making the point that the institutions of state are not in a situation of collapse. We may say the police service is not as effective as it should be, or the judicial criminal justice system is not working effectively and efficiently to deliver justice on time and so on. So we could make those points. But the institutions of state have not collapsed, and therefore we ought not to be in a situation of an exceptional crisis that requires a state of emergency. And those matters, I think, will be tested constitutionally going forward, which I think then takes us to the Hadid detentions.
Yes, and that is exactly where we will go with the conversation, as you know. This is something that we have not seen happen in Trinidad and Tobago before. And this case has been so public with so many speculations surrounding it that the impetus for even beginning to probe them were politically motivated by whatever situation has occurred between the state and their business entity, then triggering that communication or interception of communication being done on them, and then whatever preliminary evidence being presented to have them arrested using that public detention order. Now, this has had a more negative than positive effect if we look at the broader society. We have persons from all cross sections of society, whether it be grassroots, even UNC supporters, PNM supporters, persons who are not politically affiliated in any way. We have persons within the business community. For the very first time, we've heard coming out and publicly condemning these actions as being, somewhat dictatorial and moving far away from the tenets of the type of governance that Trinidad and Tobago requires during this time. Tell us a bit about what the MSJ has, been talking about or thinking about or even advocating for, pulling civil society together during this time.
Thank you. Excellent. So the one thing that clearly emerges from this is that because the Hadids have significant financial resources, they were able to hire a very powerful team of attorneys. They had 4 senior counsels, Normally people may have 1, but 4 senior counsels, and of course junior counsels going along with that, to be able to pursue their defense along multiple tracks at the same time. So initially, when they were arrested, after a certain period of time, there was a writ of habeas corpus filed for them. And then, because that was filed, the state then, through the Minister of Homeland Security, put them under preventative detention order, which means, therefore, that no habeas corpus arises, and they could be held in detention for as long as emergency existed. So that was one track. Then they pursued a judicial review of the decision and also constitutional redress. And they lost in the High Court on one of those matters, and then they won in the Appeal Court. And the Appeal Court said, okay, house arrest, but under stringent conditions. Then the state appealed that and asked for, they asked for a stay of execution, and a second Appeal Court panel, which in my view was a very unusual situation, agreed to a stay and said the Privy Council must decide, right? And then the Privy Council said, well, no, we don't have time for that because our sitting of the court Privy Council will end at the end of July, and we're already very busy. We have no time to hear this matter and make a determination. So you deal with it in Trinidad. And at that point, the Minister of Homeland Security and the government capitulated totally and rather than going back to the appeal court and saying, okay, we will abide by the judgment of the appeal court for the Hadids to be under house arrest under very stringent conditions, the Minister of Homeland Security removed the PDOs completely. So they were absolutely free, as we saw on television yesterday. Mr. Hadid went back to his office and is functioning as normal. So it then raised questions about on what evidence was the Minister of Homeland Security relying on to issue a preventative detention order. And I'll come back to the issue of the audio tape in a moment.
Yeah.
But what clearly, one of the issues that arises is that if you have the resources, you could challenge the state issuing the PDOs, and you might get off. In my view, although people will say, well, it therefore demonstrates a certain inequality in our judicial system, which is a fact, not only in this case, but generally, because there are people who are on remand and can't get bail because they don't have the financial means and so on, and remain in remand for many years because their bail has been granted, but they haven't been able to access bail. So we do have a flawed criminal justice system and an unequal, inequitable criminal justice system. But the Hadid case will set a legal precedent, in my view, which will benefit others. Yes, whether they are able to get released now or subsequently when they get released, they'll be able to use this case and challenge their detention and perhaps get damages for the state for wrongful detention. So I think the Hadid case will benefit others. And so, as I said, they made paths for Gucci to run. Now, the other part about it is that it is very clear from the appeal court judgment, and this is one of the reasons why I think the government did not, or the state, if you wish, did not want the matter to get to the Privy Council, is that the Privy Council would have slapped the Minister of Homeland Security on the wrist and the Commissioner of Police and the Attorney General because of several reasons. One, they had no evidence upon which to issue a preventative detention order because you can't go on so-called credible intelligence. You have to provide more than that to justify a preventative detention order. Secondly, that the statements made in the Parliament by the Attorney General about the 1% clearly pointed to the Syrian Lebanese community because he referenced the CNN interview or program done by Andrew Bourdain, and then also referring to certain matters in dispute with respect to land. And then we heard about Blue Waters and the state being in dispute over the land lease that they have for where their factory is located in Orange Grove, Twin City. So clearly the Attorney General, his statements could have come into question and his threats that, whether you're 1% or whoever, a cell awaits you, etc., etc. All of those things could then, the Privy Council could have drawn inferences from those statements in terms of timelines. What is also worrying, in my view, is the fact that, and we need to get clarity, when did the Commissioner of Police start to investigate the Hadids for an alleged conspiracy to murder and so on?
And that's definitely where we're going with the conversation because,
Yes.
when we look at the situation, even the leaking of the audio tape, which has shown a level of compromise within the intelligence system, within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the SSE, where we're seeing a situation where an audio tape that may have been intended to justify actions have backfired on the government, whereby persons are now saying, well, these are persons' private conversations that are not followed up with any intent. Also, we heard that from a legal side as well. Just persons venting their frustrations because of, the level of what some persons are deeming to be political pettiness that's happening, where if you're not in agreement with the government or you're not speaking out in their favor, that persons are experiencing a level of, just being silenced or being suppressed, and that level of frustration has led to persons in every sector of society, for whatever reason, voicing those frustrations, and persons are connecting this very same audio tape to similar circumstances where persons in their own private capacity, their own private homes, are just expressing that frustration. Talk to us a bit about that interception of communication, it being leaked, and just that overall, showing how that freedom of expression. And what is even crazy about this particular situation is persons are saying this is not a situation where someone took to social media and said, this is what the government is doing and this is what they deserve because, that public inciting of violence, or even someone coordinating with a criminal to have a job taken up, but someone in their own personal frustration with a family member or friend just expressing that level of frustration.
Yes, agreed. And I describe it almost as rum shop talk. Yes, right. Which is our Trimagonian kind of way of saying, when people are, somewhat in a excited frame of mind, they say all kind of wild things. Yes, and people, you're right, because there are many people in the society who express views that are racist, right? They express them to their friends, to their family, to acquaintances, and so on. And they use the N-word and the C-word very, very loosely, and so on, right? So when Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar expresses, horror about that, one has to say that members of people who are, hardcore supporters of the UNC, even on social media, will express views that are clearly racist. And people express views that are misogynist as well, because there were attacks on Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar as a woman. And of course, I deplore any statements that are racist or misogynist or both, right? Those are wrong, clearly wrong. But people do express those views privately, and therefore, as a society, we need to move beyond that. But unfortunately, our party politics has degenerated in that regard, and the UNC is not exempt from being involved. I mean, there was this whole issue in the parliament where the then member of parliament for Tobago East raised matters about Dr. Rowley, who was then leader of the opposition, and so on, which were quite horrible. Yes, and bloggers are saying all kinds of things,
Yes.
So and none of them really have been brought up for racist or horrible misogynist statements, vile statements. So what someone said in a private conversation with another person, while deplorable, is something that we have to address as a society, but is certainly not at the bar of evidence to lead to a charge of or alleged conspiracy to murder.
Right, or even
so that is one thing.
utilizing state resources to address matters of, morality. So you're saying, okay, these statements were racist. Do we use public security infrastructure to deal with racist comments?
That should only happen perhaps, and it's not even, those things don't need to be intercepted. In other words, if people are on social media and are expressing certain views, then that are contrary to existing law, then of course one can be charged for those kinds of offenses, right, under existing law. But when it comes to the interception of communication from the audio tape, that conversation clearly took place after the Attorney General spoke in the Parliament for the extension of the state of emergency. So this was sometime in June, because references were made to what was said in the Parliament, yes? And so the question is, on what basis, therefore, and so there are two people have been talking about, we need to find out who leaked it. Now, the Interception of Communication Act, and I pulled it up on my desktop, was passed in the Senate on the first day of December 2010. I was a senator at the time, so I voted in support as part of the People's Partnership. And it was passed in the House originally on the on the 20-something of November, and then we made amendments in the Senate, and those amendments were agreed to by the House on the 1st of December. So, and I didn't have time to pull up this morning my Hansard contribution, because I'm pretty sure I spoke on this piece of legislation. And so it's an important piece of legislation, but it gives authority to only 3 persons: Commissioner of Police, Chief of Defense Staff, and the Director of the Strategic Service Agency, the SSA, to get a warrant from a judge of the court, of the High Court, to intercept somebody's communication. And there are very stringent processes for that. So my question has to be, what was the basis of the application by one of those 3, Commissioner of Police, Chief of Defense Staff, or Director of the SSA, to get a warrant to intercept the communication in the first place?
Understood.
And that to my mind is the first thing that has to be explained, because why would you get a warrant to intercept the communication either of Ms. Sabga or Mrs. Hadid or both?
Yeah.
On what basis was that done? Right? On whose instructions? Because to get a warrant, the person making the application has to justify with good reasons why a warrant is required.
Understood.
And if there's an emergency situation, the judge could grant it by way of an oral communication and not by way of written documentation. But within 96 hours, the judge must then get the written documentation from the applicant. And if the judge thinks that based upon the written documentation, the judge could actually revoke the warrant. So the question has to be, in my mind, on what basis was the application made in the first place?
Yes.
And then we could come to the issue of who leaked it.
Understood.
And why?
And this is a question that's being asked by many persons. And, you know, we had the privilege yesterday of chatting right here in studio, virtually actually, with former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith. And he would have indicated what the procedure is to even get approval for interception of communication, and asked some of the very same questions that you are asking today. And we want to thank you so much for coming on and really sparking the minds of the individuals looking on this morning, and the type of questions that should be asked, and the type of analytical conversations surrounding this issue of freedom of speech during this state of emergency. Well, you know, we truly hope that we will be able to continue our conversations with you pretty soon, but unfortunately we've run out of
time. I know time, yes, and we had a problem getting the link in the first place this morning.
Yes.
But let me just say that I will share later with Ms. Rhea Richardson the recording of the People's Roundtable Forum that we had last Saturday, because we had 3 attorneys at law, Mr. Nizam Mohammed, Ms. Judy Kubla Singh, and the media the newspapers have reported on some of their contributions. And the Guardian editorial yesterday referenced what Mr. Mohammed said. And we also had Ms. Leah Abdullah, who is also an attorney at law, speaking about where you find the rights of people under the Constitution for freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and so on. So I'll share that recording, and perhaps you could use clips of it.
Yes, exactly. And hopefully we get to continue this conversation very soon in the near future.
Sure.
All right, ladies and
Thank you very
gentlemen,
much.
we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversations after this. See you soon.
We special and there is no denying Tobago is number 1.
Wait. Where are you going? Airport.
Come back this way. Catch you roundabout and go down.
Right here.
Leave on time to be on time.
Today we are here at the new A&R Robinson International Airport, and we are doing a simulation along with the Airport Authority and the TTPS to do some observation for the traffic plan that we have implemented for the opening of the new terminal building. So starting Wednesday, July 22nd, the Division of Public Infrastructure and Transportation along with the TTPS will be at this intersection and we will be implementing a traffic plan. Just continue around the circle. What is important in this entire traffic arrangement is that if you are coming from Crown Point, you're coming from the west and you want to go further east than the airport terminal, we advise that you either use Milford Road, go onto Silcotton Trace, and use one of the side streets between Milford Road and Tobago Local Road. All traffic between Kilgwin Bay Road and Gaskin Road will be coming west only. So that is one of the important points that we have to get into our systems as we learn to navigate around the new arrangements at the new ANR Robinson International Terminal going forward. But we want to assure you that we will help you to get used to it. We will circulate information. We will be here at the intersections along with the police while you get used to the arrangement to assist you in circulating and to getting to where you need to go safely and quickly.
Every village has a story. Every tradition has a voice. This July 16th to August 1st, discover them all at the 2026 Tobago Heritage Festival. This year's theme, Let We Tell the Whole Story, invites you to experience the customs, resilience, and rich cultural legacy that continue to define Tobago. Join us for unforgettable performances, village celebrations, and authentic cultural experiences across the island. The Tobago Heritage Festival 2026. Let we tell the whole story. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for event details.
Tobago, are you ready to celebrate culture, color, and creativity? Then make Heritage Haven books and things your first stop this Heritage Festival. Step into a world of vibrant African wear, handcrafted accessories, unique gifts, local authors, and inspiring books for every age. Whether you're dressing for the festivities or searching for something special, Heritage Haven has something just for you. Heritage Haven books and things where culture comes alive. Visit us today at the Scarborough Esplanade and discover treasures. Celebrate culture where read it, live it.
Coming up, Barbados kicks off festival season with Crop Over, where you can live like a local. Moments of discovery and joy during Culinary Month in Antigua and Barbuda. Find that hero within you. As these women of vision share their stories of success, Caribbean Passport TV, your guide to what's happening in the region, here on this station.
As small Caribbean islands, we do need to remember that we can't do it individually. The Caribbean needs to work as a whole. From something as simple as pooled procurement of medicine or pooled procurement of equipment, to sharing training, to having centers of excellence in different islands. Working together as one, we can become giants.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
Nice.
If I have to call a supervisor one more time to sign off on a customer because their financials are in a mess, I will scream.
Hey, don't scream in a bank. That have lockup in it.
It's either they're not registered properly, or you know what? We could just forget about annual returns, right?
Compliance is a bad word to most of them. All your compliance out of here. But let me eat.
What is wrong with Trinbagonians? I mean, it has so much help they could get out there.
Well, you know, Trinis, we don't like to spend we money.
But you know what? Be comfortable with losing we money. That make it any financial
What people should do is call Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wait, what? Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago Tax and Accounting Services. Yeah, they offer help from registering your business to filing your tax. My lunch is over.
Wait, tell me more.
No, go and scream in the bank. You go and scream in the bank.
No, Antoine, don't get one sooner.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Okay. 335, 336, 337, 338, 339.
Counting on your fingers again. No wonder you lose your business.
Grandpa, thanks for helping me start over.
You not lucky in business, you know. As a child, you tried to sell hog plum. That failed. As a teenager, you and your boyfriend tried to break into the jewelry business. But hey, where that boy end up?
He live in Aruka, in the Grove. The golden one.
Oh, child, if you want to get into business, you have to have your financial records intact. But do you know your numbers?
Of course, 624 333.
No, child, your numbers, your ratios, your equity ratios. You have a financial handicap.
What?
You need to see somebody about that. Anderson!
Who?
Anderson in Trinidad and Tobago, they offer tax and accounting services. They know about financial management.
Grandpa, I started this business with nothing.
And nothing is what you will end up with unless you call Anderson Services. Here.
Okay, this card is nice.
Yeah.
What's this?
Your rental fee. Have business will pay rent. Hot and groovy in the soca party.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we jump straight ahead into our conversation and we're talking all about what's happening with the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Responsible Persons. Now, this morning we are talking about an activity that's coming up pretty soon. We're talking about the Tobago Choral and Variety Concert. And to have that conversation with us this morning, I have the privilege of sitting and chatting right here in studio with Miss Margaret Alexander, who is a member of the Social Committee, as well as Mr. Selby Cole, the Public Relations Officer. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right, thank you guys so much for being here. We know that you guys have a number of activities that is geared towards engaging some of the seniors in society, whether they are retired or not, just looking for that social engagement and connectivity. Tell us a bit about this particular event, the Variety Concert.
Thank you very much for having us also. We couldn't think of a better place to start to launch something like this, right? The Tobago updates that reaches so many homes and so on and so forth. And this is our 25th year, and in existence as a group in Tobago. And we do have another group also in Tobago, two groups in Tobago, the one in Pembroke. But I'd like my mate here, Margaret, to tell you something about when we started and that sort of thing. Our variety concerts in those days. And
right.
We didn't start at the library.
Right, well, the variety concerts have been taking place for the past 10 years. Although Corals itself is celebrating 25 years anniversary with this particular variety concert. The event has obviously evolved and we now hold it at the library. But we're increasingly finding that we'll soon exceed capacity there. I think the library is 200 seated guests. So I think from next year, you'll see us looking to move to a larger venue. But for now, this 25-year celebration will be taking place at the library here in Scarborough. It's a variety concert because you find within TOPS and within our chorals here in Tobago, there's an amazing wealth of talent. I mean, we have poets. I mean, members who write the most amazing poetry. Monologues. We have those who sing, those who have, I don't want to say too much, but a lot of talent, artistic and otherwise. And the variety concert actually shares that. It exposes it. It provides a really entertaining evening out. And so we're here in that capacity as members to promote.
Right. And tell us a bit about the time, the date, the location for this event, and who are some of the guest artists that we can expect to come out and be a part of this?
So it's going to be at, we have, from the beginning, we always placed our activity as close to independence as possible, close to that Saturday.
Right.
Or at least the Saturday closest to independence. And in this day, it is the 29th, or 2 days before actual independence. And it's going to be at the library at 6 o'clock. Because again, we don't want to keep people out too late. Although for that particular night, maybe the children could bring the parents to the show and come back for them later. Because a lot of people don't drive in the night again, and so on and so forth. So it starts at 6, and we don't expect it to be longer than a little over 2 hours. We usually have Dr. Mark as our MC, and she will start there if it's one person. She will begin at 6 o'clock. Right?
We have a different MC this year.
I just wanted to mention, though, that Margaret did touch on the question of talent of members. And you find that certain things happen. You could say almost every year a new star is born. There was a particular year, about 2 years ago, a lady came and she did the song, the calypso, Die With My Dignity. Right? And she was a hit. Right? Would you believe that the next year she had some health challenges, but she was still able to come out and do something. And that year she did Back on My Feet again. Right. And I don't have to tell you that she got up from her chair for the last verse to show that she was back on her feet again. So it's another way of showing the resilience and of our members.
Tell us a bit about the tickets. How much does the tickets cost, and where persons can get
the tickets are $150. And they are available from members of the committee, Margaret, myself, so on. The gentleman, Mr. Lyndon Mark, who used to be a fire officer, and who is,
now chair of our social committee.
All right, he's now chair of the social committee. So we...
Right. And what I see is that's significant about this event is that part of the proceeds for this event goes towards the Happy Haven. Tell us a bit about that partnership.
We have been at Happy Haven for many years. They have allowed us to have our meetings and sometimes our dance rehearsals and all sorts of things there. It turned out that just around the end of last year, our membership had started growing. And instead of the 25 or so we might have had at a meeting, we were getting 40, 45. And we saw the need not to part ways with Happy Haven, but to get a larger area for our actual monthly second Saturday meeting. And so we are now at the Signal Hill Community Center, where we have a little more space, and maybe one day we will go there too, right?
Yes.
Right. All right. And, just for the persons looking on, if they are interested in becoming a part of the activities that you guys do, or just being a part of the organization, even outside of this concert that's happening, how can they do so?
Okay. Well, at the moment, it's on each one tell one, and we have a large WhatsApp group, and some members can go out and tell others. We, at the moment, unfortunately, don't have a physical location. We were being allowed to let members go on Tuesdays and Fridays to the Methodist Circuit Office, up right across the road from the Scarborough Methodist Church. We don't have that facility at the moment, but at the moment everything's online now, so we're on live and so on. Besides which, people can actually go onto www.tap.org and become members online via Trinidad, right? And some of us are well known, and we get around and meet those who are here. We have also twice a month, we have been having the opportunity to go to the police credit union just around the middle of the month and the end of the month. And there we have a physical session where people can also come and renew on that at that point.
It's like a registration desk for new membership as well.
Right. And Margaret, even as we round off our discussion this morning, tell persons why it's important to come out and support the concert, get a ticket, and just be a part of this event.
Well, I think it's a community effort, and in terms of the social arm, the membership attracts people from the age of 50 upwards. So you've got the not yet retired plus the retired. And these are people, experienced in life, a lot to offer. But equally, you find in terms of social activities, getting together, sharing skills and talents, outings and so on, it's a very dynamic group. In some areas, an influential group, a supportive group, as well as being self-supporting for its membership. So there's a lot, and we share a lot of laughter. It's not, all serious, what some people may consider uninteresting stuff. Very, very interesting. We do have a lot of fun, a lot of laughter together. And, it's full of engagement. So all are welcome.
I just want to point out quickly that even though, we are not 50, neither of us, this concert means a lot to us because it's our 25th anniversary as a group, a zone as we call it. But then we also have the tinge of sadness because some of our very instrumental members, two of them, for instance, have died recently. And one of those ladies is Heather Caruth, who sold a lot of tickets.
Right.
And you find that, it will be a sort of remembrance, and Sparrow would have said, when you remember the memories. So we will obviously touch on memories of certain people like Heather who have passed on. And our oldest member, and he was the oldest financial member, recently died at 103 years old.
Wow.
Mr. Joseph Daniel Archer, he wasn't coming to meetings, but he was right there with everything and supporting and so on and so forth. And I dare say we are verifying that he was also the oldest staff member even in Trinidad. Okay, so a bit of history will be played out on that deal.
Excellent. We want to thank you guys so much for being here this morning and coming and share with us and our audience this morning on being a part of that event that you are having, that Tobago Choral and Variety concert. And so we want to thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for being a part of this morning's discussions. We want to thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and you have a productive day.